Welcome on this new program on Mikeshomeesl. It is called ELA Teaching Tips. This program is here to help you with your English class, ELA. Today, I'm going to share my experience with the very first lesson I had to teach them, the reading process. The reading process is composed of 3 steps: before reading, during reading, and after reading. In this video, I'll show you how I've introduced this lesson to my students. Now, I'm not gonna do a warm-up like peel banana because, they're mid and high school students. For high school, there's another term for warm-up called bell ringer. I'll share with you my first bell ringer I did with my middle school students in another video. But first, what's called the reading process. When you start to teach the reading process to your students, you have to hook them by creating a dialogue so they won't get bored. You'd better start by asking them this question: why do you read? And let's see what they have to answer. If nothing's coming out, ask them about if they know Harry Potter's book or even the movie. I'm pretty much sure they'll answer yes. So go on and ask them why they like the story and how do they feel when they read. Because reading is feeling. You read because you want to be entertained. You read because you want to feel angry, scared, or you want to laugh till you cry. Maybe some of you don't like Harry Potter, and it's fine. You might like to read about amazing animals or people, learn about science or history. You read because you want to improve yourself, to increase your vocabulary, to improve your memory and focus, to enhance your imagination, to sharpen your mind, to improve your writing skills, to exercise your brain. Reading is power. You gain intellectual strength and important knowledge about the world. Then you can go on and explain that there are 3 steps in the reading process. Some teachers even divide it in 5 steps, but for my students' English level, I'll keep it to 3 steps to make it easier for them to learn and remember. Reading isn't easy to teach. Reading teachers are thinking coaches. To explain the first step before reading, I will again ask questions to my students to keep their attention on me. I'll ask them this question first: what do you do before you start to read a whole book? They might be answering, I go to the bookstore to buy one, or I borrow it from the library. Even more funny, I just open it. Then explain them that they have to choose a book and make sure this is the right book for them to read. That's what we called purpose for reading. Students need to set up the purpose for reading. What do they need to read? What do they need to find out in that reading? A very efficient and basic strategy before reading to make sure it is the right book and find out the main idea right away is the skimming strategy. What is skimming? It's a strategy to help you find the main idea of a text or a book fast. When do we skim? You skim before you read for details, and when you have a lot to read but not much time. Why skimming? You skim to read and understand faster. You skim to know what kind of reading it is. Is it an article, a blog, an essay, a fiction, a story, etc.? You skim to get the main idea fast and decide if the text is important or interesting for you to read. So How to skim. Read the most important parts according to this order. 1. The title. 2. Check out the image and see what is the meaning of it. 3. Subheadings or smaller titles. 4. Read the first paragraph. 5. Read the first sentence of other paragraph. 6. Read the last paragraph. When you skim a book, you can also check the author's name and see if you already know him or not. We call this prior knowledge. And of course, you can check out the preface quickly if it's for a book. Skimming is a basic and efficient strategy of the part before reading in the reading process. There are other strategies like graphic, organizer, thinking aloud, outlining, etc. All these strategies used before reading are all part of what we called active reading. If you want to know more about all other strategies and you want me to make more videos about active reading, just let me know in the comment section down below. After the first part of the reading process called before reading, you are now ready to read this book or text in details. This means reading the whole text or book. As you know, this reading is what you want to read. It's time now for the second part of the reading process called during reading. What do you do during this part? Obviously, you read, but it's not only that. You also have to think. I mean, pause and think about what you're reading. Pause and check predictions and even make predictions. Ask yourself questions. What happened? Why did it happen? Does it make sense? Do I understand? You visualize, you summarize, and you think. Reading stimulates your brain and allows you to think in new ways. Being actively engaged in what you're reading allows you to ask questions, view different perspectives, identify patterns, and make connections. During reading, you have to monitor your comprehension by using active reading strategies. Reread, take notes, and discuss. When I was teaching the during reading part of the reading process to my students, I've used one very useful strategy called chunking. Make sure to check the first video of this series to understand the kind of students I have in my class and their English level. A link will appear again on the top of the screen. But let's talk about this very interesting strategy called chunking. What is it? It's a strategy used during reading part, breaking up reading passage into chunks, 1 or 2, 3 paragraphs. How is it used? Chunking is used during reading activities so that students can get some reading done under the supervision of the teacher, rather than after class. Chunking makes the reading task more manageable, especially for weaker readers who might be discouraged by lengthy assignment. It is important to break text into meaningful chunks with some complete ideas. Otherwise, it serves no useful purpose toward comprehension. So make sure to plan carefully your lesson when using this strategy with your students. The last part of the reading process, after reading. This part of the process occurs when the reader finishes reading a text or a book. The reader takes time to think about what he or she knew before reading and what he or she learned or connected with during the reading. Then he or she will have to link this information together to build new knowledge. The strategy that I use with my students is the think, pair, share strategy, because it involves my students to work together and exchange their comprehension and ideas about the text or the book. The think, pair, share strategy. What is it? The think, pair, share strategy is a cooperative learning activity where students work together to solve a problem or answer a question about a reading assignment. How is it used? First step, students are given a topic or answer a question to think about individually, recording their thoughts on paper. Step 2, students in pairs share their thoughts with a partner. Step 3, each pairs are asked to create a short and clear statement combining both pair members' thoughts. Step 4, each pairs share their statement with the class. In conclusion, it is important for each part of the reading process to find a strategy that will fit your students' learning and better understanding of the process. On Mikeshomeesl.com, there are tons of strategies that I will share very soon. So make sure to go in the description down below and click on the link. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the mail list to stay tuned when more strategies will be online. But there's also one very important thing that your students have to do during the 3 parts of the reading process. Here we go with today's conclusion of this video series and that question. What's a very important thing that your students have to do during the reading process? During the reading process, remember your students to think when they read. For this, they have to use 6 different ways. Number 1, connect. Think about what you already know about the story or the topic of the book or the text, connecting the information to your life. Number 2, predict. Think about what the text or the book is going to tell you. Predict what might happen next. 3, picture. Think about using your senses, see, taste, smell, to feel the author's word. Imagine the picture in your mind. 4, question. Think about questions you want to ask when words or sentences do not make sense to you. Clarify your mind. 5, summarize. Think about sorting out or classify information the text or the book gave you. Draw your conclusion from here. 6, evaluate. Think about what you're reading and build your opinion and see if it makes sense to yourself. Thinking when reading stimulates your brain and allows you to think in new ways. Being actively engaged in what you are reading allows to ask questions, view different perspectives, identify patterns, and make connections. Reading is power, and knowledge is power. Books contain so much knowledge, ideas that make people question how things are and make people see faults in our world, which can sometimes be a threat. A lack of knowledge can create ignorance, which creates people who are easier to control. Hope you liked that video series about the reading process and this new program on Mikeshomeesl, ELA Teaching Tips. Next video series will be about, guess what? If you are an ELA teacher, you know that you have to teach the reading process and just go down in the comment section and give me your answer, and I'll feature you in the next video with, again, gifts for the first 3 people to answer. Don't forget to give some like and subscribe to let other teachers know about this channel. Together we're stronger. ESL, ELA power. Happy teaching to all. Peace and love to all the children of this world.